Welcome to my first YouTube video that I am currently making. It's going to be a PC build today, and the name of the channel is Why Not. And the reason why I chose it is because why not build it, you know? Why not build things? Why not fix things? Why not go on an adventure? So I figured like just spontaneous things, like creating this video, it's going to be spontaneous. So first we're going to start off is the Distroplate. So these are SK-WB stop plugs. I already installed it. Or when I bought the Distroplate from SteelKey, I thought it would come with it, but it did not come with the stop plug, so I had to go buy it. Originally I was trying to go for AlphaCool, but I already ordered AlphaCool. It was too late, so I saw these on Amazon for like 10 bucks or so, or less. I don't know, I forgot. 10 bucks for 8 stop plugs. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. So what I'm going to be doing is, this Distroplate does not include a pump, so I bought an AlphaCool Apex pump. So we're going to install that onto here. Yep. It just didn't go in smoothly the first time. Voila. Okay. Remove this. Boom. Can't believe I had this for like 2-3 years, never used. What a waste. I think I had it in 2021 or so. I was planning to build it, but you know, college, work on the way, didn't have time, so just let it sit. Now that today we have like a 50 series, I'm like generations behind, but that's okay. This is my third PC build. My first one was all air cooled, like using fans and whatnot. I didn't know much about water cooling. Then my second PC, I built it using an AIO cooler. And this is my third one, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna take it to the next step and just do a full liquid cooling PC. Jeez. Look at that. You know, for an acrylic GPU cooler, this is pretty heavy. So, also from AlphaCool, I had to buy this on eBay because the 3080 Ti was 2-3 years ago, and obviously that's discontinued now. So is the Waterblock for the GPU cooler. And searching for it was kind of difficult because I saw it on AlphaCool, but that was for the backing plate, not the entire distribution unit to be cooled. So after reaching out to customer service, you know, I think it's AlphaCool, they gave me the correct part number and told me that it's discontinued. So, you know, I had to look online elsewhere, and eBay was the only place I was selling it. And luckily, when I got the package, I was kind of skeptical at first, but it came out pretty nice. You know, it looks pretty legit, so I'll take what I can get. I got most of the screws on the back plate off, but as I was pulling, there was some resistance, and upon closer inspection, when I was looking at it, there are some screws holding the back plate together. I'm not sure if you can see, I think it was on, so right here, yeah, so you have one screw, I'm not sure if you can pick it up, but let's flip it over. Yeah, one screw right here, another screw right here, and you have a supporting bracket right here, right in there, that's going down all the way down to the back plate. So obviously when there's tension, there should be some tension, and that because it could be due to the thermal pad, we're able to lift it a little bit, right? But once I got towards this area right here, it was not possible to lift it, so that's where I found the screws. So in order to get to the screws, I have to remove the fan shrouds that's in the way. And they are, let's see, removing like 6 screws in total. So you have one right here, one right there, and you have another one right here. So that's 3. And I think there's also on the bottom one as well too. Trying to be very careful. I love this so much because it's magnetic, especially for those tiny screws. So see how you're able to lift it a little bit? There you go. So that's how I know that I have to remove these screws first. And this is for a 3080 Ti MSI Ventus. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Ventus 3X 12 gigabytes DDR6X 3080 Ti. I tried looking at YouTube to find a specific model, but couldn't find it, so I figured, like, you know what, I'll just take my time figuring it out. Alright. I was hoping this is going to take about 1 day to finish, but it might take more than 1 day. So let's see, does it come out? Yes, it does. Now, there's some resistance, and that's because of cable that is over here. You want to be very careful with it. So I'm just going to flip it over like this. There we go. Alright, so with the GPU, I got to take out this supporting bracket right here. You have 1, 2, 3 long screws and 2 tiny screws right here on the side. So I was able to get these 2 screws out easily, but to get the long screw it was kind of hard. So you have to remove the 2 screws on the side and then just slide it out like so, and then you just lift it up, and then the bracket will come out just like that. So that is that. So there was a resistance right here on this portion, so there's a screw that was missing. So I'm just gonna flip it over, and you see that screw right there, 1 screw right there. There we go, and the last screw. And just like this, I can just pull off the back plate, like so. Boom. And these are all the thermal pads right there. All these screws on the GPU tray is going to be a Phillips 1, not a Phillips 0. I was lucky that the other screws, I was able to manage to get it out. There we go, it bites way more easier. Oh. Yeah, so it looks like thermal pads on the heatsink. It's very strong. It's holding intact, like crazy. And when you're gripping it, grip it by the center of weight, so that way you're not bending the circuit board of the GPU. Like, pressure is balanced and centered. There we go. So I got that part loose, right? We're gonna move on to go over this side now. Same process. Just start pulling it. There we go. So it starts peeling off. Okay, you see the thermal pad and the heatsink, or the thermal paste is also there. So now do the same thing for this side. Slowly. Okay, perfect. Alright. I am very nervous. Okay. Alright. Woo! We did it, guys. The heatsink is officially out. So unfortunately my GoPro died, so I'm using my phone now to record it. So this right here says for the cooler, numbers 1 through 3. And the instruction, when we follow in this diagram, I did confirm the location on the GPU cooler is in fact the original OEM. So all you gotta do is just follow this instructions, place it onto water block, and I'm gonna be removing these old thermal pads that came originally with the heatsink. I did wipe down as much as I can of the thermal paste. This is as much as I can get down to. I use isopropyl alcohol along with a microfiber cloth, and yeah. But this is the final result of the AlphaCool 3080 Ti, and we're gonna move on to the CPU now. CPU Waterblock, and this is also the Apex CPU Waterblock. So both the pump was an Apex and the CPU is also Apex. Get the hardware tools out real quick. Oh nice, this one has a foaming pad underneath. The moment of truth. If I'm being honest, I bought all this slowly starting January of this year, and it is currently June 13th, so 6 months. I still haven't bought the SSD card yet either, so I'm going to be going with the 5th gen Samsung 9100 SSD, 3 terabytes in total, so 1 terabyte and then 2 terabyte. This is a beefy motherboard. It is heavy, extremely heavy. And oh, these are stickers. Pretty nice stickers, fancy. Feels high quality. Another reason why I chose is the ability to make any further upgrades. If I want to do like an AI home network system, I can build off of that too. So automate everything, touch of a phone. That's another project I want to work on. Hence, why not? Why not build a whole network AI, home network systems. So that's that. I'll keep this in here for now. Put the sticker back in here. Love the quality. So when I mean foaming, look at that foaming. Oh my goodness. And the soldering for the connectors, the capacitors. Jeez. And I am running with an Ryzen 9950X. I didn't go with the X3D mainly because it wasn't out yet when I bought it, or they didn't have it in stock. So I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'm not going to be needing it. At least I don't think I will. It is great for gaming, but I'm also going to do other software designs, AutoCAD, and all that other stuff too. So not to worry about it too much. There we go. Feel free to shake it, make sure it's in place, which sure it is. Now you're gonna close this down. Now we're gonna press. There you go. Just like that, you just installed the CPU. So I installed the water cooling for the CPU already. It is heavy, but there are 4 screws. So you can see back here, there's this backing plate. You can see on behind the motherboard, and you use the 4 screws to tighten it. I always do a star pattern no matter what, just so you can tighten everything evenly, so one side is not tighter than the other side and it's always balanced. So next I'll be installing the RAM. So there we go. RAM will be in slot 2 and 4. I've only got 2 RAM sticks, going with a Corsair Vengeance DR5. I did want to go with the G-Skill Trident, but Corsair was having a deal with the motherboard, so I couldn't pass up a good deal. So I had to. It shows $99, but I think I got it on sale for like $60 or so. And when installing RAMs, you always want to make sure it's aligned with that pin right there, and you gotta press down really hard in order for the slots to click in. It should click in automatically. There's gonna be a little bit of pressure, but don't worry, you're not gonna break the motherboard. It may feel like it, but it won't. As long as your RAM sticks are perfectly aligned into its slot and the orientation is correct, then there should be no problem. Now, if your orientation is wrong and you're not properly aligned in the slot itself, there will be tension and you could risk damaging your RAM or even the slot itself. So just make sure to pay attention to detail so there's no damage to your motherboard or your RAM stick. Here is a 360mm radiator. It's an XT45, so 45 millimeters thick. I have 2 of them, and I'll be running it with the Fantex D30-120 reverse fans, so they'll be pulling air upwards. So this is gonna be in the bottom of the case, and then have another radiator, which is right there. It's gonna be on top of the case, blowing air inside the case. So that's hence the reverse, pulling in, and then I'll have 3 separate fans. They'll be exhausting out. I'm currently going to be using a Fantex NV7. The reason why I went with these fans was because it has the option for the reverse capabilities and daisy chaining it. So I've never had an opportunity to try daisy chaining fans before. But so this build would be a perfect opportunity for me to give that a try, see how daisy chain works, how simple it is, or just curiosity of why not try it out. All right, so it turns out the screws that came with the AlphaCool radiator does not fit with the Fantex fans, and the reason why is because the head of it is kind of rounded hex, so it caused it to not sit flush. So when you put on the caps right here, right? So we're gonna put it on. You see how you have wiggle room? It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to sit flush. So take that one for example. That's with the OEM screws, but I went to Home Depot to get some flathead Phillips. It's still an M3 35mm, and this is what it looks like. It sits flushed, and I'm able to basically put the covers on, and it's no movement whatsoever, and it sits flush. That's how it should be. This one, however, you see there's a tiny gap. It's not supposed to be like that. Instead of going with stainless, you can go with zinc instead, and it should still be fine. I chose stainless just in case if water does leak out, I don't want the screws to rust. I'm not sure if the coolant I'll be using would cause it to rust, but I'm assuming it would because it's still some sort of liquid. So if you want to be safer, you can go stainless. It's a little bit more expensive. It's about like $375 for a pack of 2, or you can go with zinc, probably cheaper than $375. So that's just my input. The 35mm screw, so it's not really touching the plate yet. I'm not sure if you can see the angle from here, but it's barely touching it. Probably 1 or 2 millimeters left until it touches that plate. So if you want to go with a 30mm, it's also safe. Just don't over torque it accidentally, because you could puncture it to the back plate and could damage the fins. So this is just some information before doing so. I did check, and that's why I went with the 35mm instead of the 30mm. Alright, so I'm basically got the entire setup inside the PC already. The wiring harness has been routed. So decided to go with the 4th Gen 990 Pro instead of the 9100. This is just gonna be the OS only. OS is gonna be stored on here along with some other files. So don't really need too much for 5th Gen. That'd be overkill just for OS. And I found out that these 2 slots for SSD share the same bandwidth with the GPU. So I originally thought it would be okay to use it, but that's not the case. So I had to remove GPU out and remove 2 screws right here in order to get to the SSD slot right there. Alright, got the SSD in, so it's a clip right here. So you're gonna slide in, so you're gonna slide all the way to the right, and then you're gonna push down and then use this tab, and it will lock it in place. And that's pretty much it. So you're pretty much gonna do the same thing for the other side if you're gonna have another M.2 4th Gen to be installed there. In total, you do have I would say like 5 M.2 slots, 3 for 5th Gen, 2 for 4th Gen, but because these 2 share the same bandwidth as the GPU, I recommend you not to use it and just use one of the 5th gen. It is possible, but you know, you'll be kind of slowing down your bandwidth for your GPU and whatnot. Okay, so just got my 5th gen SSD, the Samsung 9100 Pro, 2 terabytes, and going to be installing it. This is the final hardware component I need for the PC build. This is unopened, got it on Facebook Marketplace for like about $180, and it was a steal. I was kind of skeptical at first, but we're about to find out if it's legit. It looks legit. The casing, everything looks legit so far. No issues there, and voila. 9100 Pro. This is going to be installed over here. Gonna push and then release. Just like that. Alright. Boom. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. Nice. I went through about 3 tubes worth of PMMA just to create the inlets and outlets for the GPU. And it's not that it was better, because you know, I messed up so many times. This one too. Bubbles were forming because I put it too close. It was too hot, so I messed that up. This one right here, I made the bend a little bit further out, so I had to fix it, heat it up, try to straighten it out again, and then bend it closer. Next, I'm gonna be doing the CPU and then the top and bottom radiators. Leak test again. Looks like it's leaking from the bottom of the CPU. I'm not sure if it's from the block or from the hose or fittings itself. Leaking on the bottom radiator, could be due to the O-ring. Major leak on the top radiator, both inlet and outlet top radiator. Looks like the Distroplate is all good, no leaks from the Distroplate. Alright guys, this is about 2 weeks later, and the reason why it's delayed was because I had multiple leaks around the entire system. And you know, I fixed all the leaks. You know, it was leaking from the CPU, it was leaking from the top radiator, and it was also leaking from the bottom radiator. But after inspection, there was a paint chip that caused it to leak no matter what. And trying to use Teflon tape around it and to use O-rings to seat it down, it still didn't work. It leaked a little bit, way less than compared to the original without Teflon tape, but because after trying that Teflon tape and it still leaked, I contacted AlphaCool. They couldn't do anything about it, so they refunded me the radiator, and I just ordered another one. So I did another leak test, and there's no more leaks, so it's all good. And now it's time to use the Alpha Liquid Eco Clear coolant to pour into the entire loop and basically turn it on, because there's no more leaks. And this is the final result of my first custom wire loop PC build. Now, if you are running this PC build with an Asus ROG Strix X870E gaming motherboard, I'm not sure about other Asus motherboards, but specifically this one, the Wi-Fi drivers are not installed yet. I was having issues connecting to the internet after installing the OS files. So if you are going to be using Wi-Fi, I do recommend installing those Wi-Fi drivers onto a separate USB drive, and then plug into your motherboard. After the OS is installed, you can boot it up or download the drivers from the USB drive, and you should have access to the internet to continue going through the steps that prompt you to connect to the internet, OneDrive, Microsoft accounts, and whatnot from there. But if you're using a wired connection to the internet, you should have no problem going through all those steps after installing the OS. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it.